Are you able to see the screen, guys?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So when we talk about security, security is, not only related to your external security, it is internal security as well. Now, when I say external security, so external security is about the applications, what applications you have, how exactly you are trying to get into this area, right? And what things we are planning. So for example, there is a hacker who is trying to hack into Workday. Now, those kind of security, we are not going to work on it. Who is going to work on it? It is going to be the um Workday security team who will take care of all that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we have our internal security team, which will take care of the internal application and all those things, right? So we have two parts in that. One is your data security, and the second part is your action security. Now, when I say data security, it is basically your domain security policy. Okay. So security is governed by two policies, which we all have to remember. One is called as domain security policy, and another is called as business process security policy. Now, when I say domain security policy, it is basically the collection of fields, and the restrictions are put on data access of the employees. Okay. So when I say restrictions are put on the data actions, or, um, so I'll give you an example. Everybody, wherever they are working, in case you are working, you will be able to see your compensation details, right? That this is my package, this is my fixed number, this is my, um, not fixed number, this is my variable pay, right? So you are able to only see that. You cannot make any changes, correct? You want to go ahead and make sure that those numbers are as per what you have got in your offer letter. That's not something different, correct? So if you are able to view that, which means you have view access, you are able to read that, you have a read access, but you cannot go ahead and make any changes to that, which means you have restriction. But who will be a person who can change that? There must be somebody who can change that, right? That could be your HR team, that could be your compensation team, but they can go ahead and change it, correct? Yes,
Correct.
no?
Yes.
So which means they have got the edit access, but you haven't got the edit access. How is that possible? That is possible because of the roles and responsibilities that you have in an organization. So for an example, again, you have a sales user. Now for a sales user, what is the use of Workday? Why will they use it? We all know that if you are working in an organization, and for all your HR issues, you will have to use a HCM system, right? I'm giving you a hint that you can answer this question. So for a sales user, what will be the use of HR system, or you can say Workday system? What will they do?
Attendance,
Okay, great, wonderful.
performance management,
Performance management.
uh,
Okay.
performance to report the performance.
So performance of whom? Their day-to-day productivity, their day-to-day work,
Like we have
or
seen the allowances,
okay,
allowances.
allowances. Okay.
Yeah, if they have completed this target, then yeah, so have to report like.
They may not report that in Workday, but that's fine. What you're saying is also not, wrong, but yeah, that would not be in Workday. But yes, performance management will be done in Workday. That is the right answer. But what else? In fact, when I give you the example, I give you the answers also. If you are able to understand, then you will be able to answer this question very easily.
Okay.
Yep, tell me. Anybody, guys. It's very simple. I have given you the answer also.
Okay. Personal details.
Personal details, absolutely correct. Your dependent details, your bank information,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, your benefits, all the things you can access in Workday, right? So
Hmm.
for any user, understand why exactly they are going to go ahead and use Workday is there for HR needs. Now, what is their HR need? HR need is all the things, basically,
Yeah, all the information related.
all the information.
Yeah.
Okay. But they will not be able to change anything because they don't have that access that they will be able to change these details. Okay. I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to say. Now, when you have this kind of restrictions put, so these kind of restrictions are put in such a way that whatever your role and responsibility is there in your organization, you will get access only till that. Otherwise, you will not get the access. So let's say I am a software engineer and I don't have any work related to Workday. I don't do development in Workday. I do development in Java. I will only be as good as a sales user in Workday. I will also see the same things. I will mark my attendance. I will apply my leaves. I will see my benefits. I'll see my personal details. And if I'm a Workday developer in production, I will still not have access to make any changes. I can see anything in sandboxes, but in production, I will not be able to make any changes for anybody. So there also I have restriction. As a Workday consultant also, I have restrictions. Does it make sense, guys? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yes,
Yeah.
Devanshish.
Yes.
Based on
Okay,
our role, we'll get access,
correct.
whatever we require.
Right.
Basically,
And
Workday consultant doesn't have change access.
uh, not everybody will have. There will be only 1 or 2 person who can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, not everybody.
Okay.
Okay. So two parts in security. One is your data security, which I was trying to tell you that there are fields which you will be able to see, which you will be able to, make the changes, which you will not be able to make the changes. Because see, in personal details, you will be able to make the changes. If your address is changing, you're moving from one place to the other, there you will have the liberty that you can go ahead and update the address.
Employee you're talking or HR?
I'm talking about employee also.
Employee himself can change it.
Yes, employee can go ahead and change that
Yeah. He can
address.
add his if his daughter and children, family details.
Yeah, dependence information. They want to remove somebody from dependence, then they can do that, right? So all those things they can do. But there must be a window. Let's say you have to declare your dependence. They will say that, okay, once in a year it will open and then you can declare it, right?
I guess
So that is
information like PAN card or Aadhaar that won't be able to.
you can change that. I don't think any company would put that restriction that you can change, you cannot change these things
Okay.
because this is your personal information, right?
But again,
What
that
has
PAN card affects the income tax this thing. No? If you can't just change it.
Yeah, but anyways, it is your responsibility, right, to give the right number, PAN number and Aadhaar
Yeah.
number,
Yeah.
right? You cannot keep on changing it every day,
Yeah, that's it.
right? Yeah, but yeah, if you want to change it, there will be no restrictions. You can do that. Okay, so guys, that was all about the data security. Then comes the next part, which is action. Action means you're performing some activities. What activities will you do in Workday? Mark my attendance, right? Submit my timesheet. That
Mm.
is an activity. So
Yes.
how do we do that? There is a business process which will help you to do it. So you created a position, right? How did
Yes.
you do that? You typed in the task, create position, and then you filled in the details and you submitted it, and then you saw process successful, right? This is something you got as a
Yeah.
message,
Yes. Yes.
which means those actions were allowed to you. You were able to do it only those actions where you got the permission to do that. Not everybody will be able to create a position. As a sales user, again, you will not have any access to make those changes because those processes are restricted, right? Now, if I have to mark my leave, I should have that access. If I don't have access, how will I mark leave? I will not be able to. So all those worklets, if you remember, which I have showed you initially in the tenant, that these are called worklets. With the help of these applications, you will perform your day-to-day activities. So that is for users, your end users, which they will use it to perform those activities. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So that is governed by a policy which is called as a business process security policy. So any actions that you are doing, any activity which you are performing, like example is creating any organization, job profile, compensation, those are all business processes, and we are using those business processes to create it. Now, in seventh chapter, which is the next chapter, we will see how a business process is created so that I can customize the processes as per my requirement. Okay. So processes basically means that it is a action. You are performing some activity. And if you are able to do that easily, then you can very well go ahead and make the changes as per the requirement which you have. Correct? I hope you have understood both the type of security, data security and action security. Is there a question on that? Yes, no?
No,
No.
Devashi.
Okay. Then comes the next part, which is restrictions. So restrictions are put on data access of an employee, and controlling part of the field and information is defined. And that is defined through these policies. We will see that one by one. Another thing is we have to understand the security flows from top to bottom. Now, what do you understand by top to bottom?
Management to employee. Yeah.
It is basically through the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Hierarchy. Yeah.
Okay. So here I have created a hierarchy. Let's say I have a technology head sitting at the top, maybe a VP, and then you have B, who is a, let's say
Assistant,
maybe a senior
assistant
director.
vice president. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have C and G, who are senior managers. And then D, E, F are reporting to C. So they are maybe team leads or managers. And H, I, J is reporting to G. Okay. And each of these people, because we have created a supervisory organization, the concept is we create a supervisory organization only for a manager or somebody who has at least one reportee. Correct?
Yeah.
So each of them are managers, right? So let's say D has 10 employees, E has 10 reportees, F has 10 reportees. So 10, 10, 10, which is 30, right?
Yeah.
HIJ 10, 10, 10, which is another 30. So C will have a span of 10 plus 10 plus 10, 30 plus 3,
Yeah.
right? So 33 employees are reporting to C. Same G will have the same thing. B, how many will be there? 33 plus 2,
33 plus.
C
Yeah.
and G,
7.
Yes.
right? And then the technology head will have 38 because B is also reporting to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So D will have access to some information of their reportees. So for example, D may be able to see the compensation details. D may be able to see the details of their employees, last experience, all those things. If they are filled in, they will be able to see. All those information will be seen by D. Similarly, that will be seen for E also, F also, H, I, J will also have the same access. Now, D will not have access to E's data. E will not have access to F. Similarly, E will not have access to D also, right? And the people who are below them, they will not have access to each other's data,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
But C will have access to DEF
Yes.
and the people who are reporting to them. G will
Yes.
have access to HIJ and the people reporting to them. Now, these restrictions are put through security groups in Workday. Okay. So this is a very important concept, guys. Security groups. What is a security group? So it's a collection of permissions. So you have different permissions which is clubbed together in a security group. And when you have different things clubbed together in a security group, then what happens? Whoever is a member of that security group, they will have the same permissions. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's consider this. Sneha is a HR and Sneha is aligned to the department of G. So when Sneha is aligned to the department of G, then you have HIJ. HIJ, who are HIJ? HIJ are managers who are reporting to G. So Sneha, if she has a role of a HR and she's aligned to G's department, so Sneha will have access to the data of G, HIJ, and the people who are reporting to HIJ. Right?
Yes.
Did you get the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Similarly, Naveen, who is a HR partner, is aligned with the VP. Now, Naveen will have access to the data of A, and Naveen will have access to all the data of all the employees in this particular hierarchy.
Yes.
So what indicates? It indicates that the security flows from top to bottom. You cannot have C accessing the data for B. No, you cannot. Okay. If they are able to do that, that means there is a serious wrong permissions that has got assigned to that security group where C is a part of it. Clear?
Yes.
Now, when we talk about data security, so data security is basically dependent upon functional areas, guys. Now, when I say functional area, we will understand what is a functional area, but not right now. We will see that later. Where we will see that functional area, we will see that once we have understood the concept of security groups and other parts. Okay.
Okay.
But in that functional area, you will have data which is related to personal data, compensation data, dependent, bank information, right? So these are all your functional areas. And we will see that because there is a specific section for HCM functional area, finance functional area, workday student functional area. We will categorize that and we will see it. But we will only look into HCM and then very specifically we will look into the core HCM part. And when you give the permissions in Workday, guys, as I stated, right, the permissions are given on security group. So there are only two types of permissions, which is related to your data security: view and modify. You don't have any other permission. Like I said, that you're able to edit the data, update the data, delete the data, right?
Yeah.
So if you give modify permission, all the permissions are given. So modify is a very, very powerful permission. If you're giving somebody a modify permission, which means he or she has all the permissions. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Great.
In modify, you have delete also, is it?
Modify means you can create, edit, delete, update, upsert. You can do anything.
Suppose
Yeah.
in case if we are doing a modification, any correction, how about
Hmm.
that old data will be get saved at the back end, or like it will be
No,
removed?
if you are making the change, right, depends upon
Okay.
where you are making the changes.
Okay, I didn't get it. Like Zena, like for example, if I'm doing some changes in my personal data, like my that earlier field, my address, old address, whatever. Like I'm just changing updating my current address. So the whole address will be like in the data, or like as it will get saved at the back end, or like how is that?
Okay, let me tell you. Now, let's say you joined as a HR executive somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
And let's say after 1 year or 2 years, you got promoted as a senior HR executive.
Okay.
Now your designation is changing, right?
Yeah.
So the old designation is not that it will be deleted. It will be there in the job history.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
But let's say I have to change a phone number,
Okay.
right? So the
Okay.
previous phone number was something else and I changed my number and I'm going to change my phone number in my office. So that
Okay.
data, your previous data will not be saved because that is something, it does not have a history. You will have only audit history that, okay, this data was changed on this
Okay.
particular day. That's how exactly it is going to be. Some organizations do keep an audit, they will go ahead and do an audit of all these things. So if you are changing the main profiles things, then that should come under audit. But these are your personal information, right? So the personal information
Okay.
may not be there in database. It will be captured for sure, but for how long it will be, that depends upon Workday, because they may delete the data after 5 years or 6 years, right? So they can do that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this is about your permissions. Now, another thing is very important part, guys, that I said that the security is given on security groups. The permissions are given on the security groups. So it is not important where you are giving the permissions, because you have to only give the permissions on security group. You cannot give it anywhere. And the security is not at all related to your designation, guys. I am a Workday consultant. I work as a security administrator. Okay. But I will have more permissions than a CEO of the organization. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Right? So security is not at all related to the designation. But what is the responsibility, your role that you're performing in the organization? As per that, the permissions are given. For a CEO, business decisions they have to take, not that what application changes that they have to do. So accordingly, permissions are also given. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. So there are two ways in which your security can be assigned. I mean, these are not only the two ways, but these are two major ways in which your security can be assigned. And again, as I stated, security can be assigned through the security groups only. So in Workday, there is a typical way. You can't assign the permission on an employee. You cannot give a permission to an employee. You have to give the permission to a security group only. I'm very much specifying this because you cannot forget this. Okay. This is a thumb rule of security, that I cannot give a permission directly to a user. I will have to give the permission to a security group only. So how that passes on to the user, there is a process. And that process is, try understanding this. This is very important. So when you are creating a security group, there are two types of security group: role-based security group and user-based security group. Generally, everyone in an organization will be given a role-based security, because you will have a specific role and responsibility. Correct? You will have a specific role, that you are authorized to work on a particular section. You are authorized to work on particular section. For example, I am a software engineer. I don't have any relationship with Workday. I will be only given as an end user permissions. I can view the details. I can manage my personal information. I can see my compensation. I can mark my leaves. I can, put my attendance. I can look at my benefits, all those things. Right. And let's say I'm an accountant. So I need to do the financial analysis. So in that case, I would need access to the cost centers of the organizations, right? Then only I can prepare the balance sheet. Are you getting the point? So what happens here? Whenever an employee is hired, as per their roles and responsibility, a role is created in the system. Okay. and that role is assigned to that employee, and that role is also assigned to that security group. What is that security group where it gets assigned? It is called as a role based security group. Okay, so now this role is assigned to the role based security group. All the permissions that you have given is on the security group. So directly the role is now a part of security group, so all the permissions will be inherited by the role. And once that role is assigned to an employee, the employee indirectly becomes the member of the security group. Then the same permissions which you have given onto a security group goes to a employee. They will be able to perform those activities where the permission has been defined in the security group. Great. Did you understand the concept? This is the most important concept of Workday security, and this is followed everywhere. You cannot forget it. Did everyone understand? So first of all, understand that the permissions are given on security groups.
Yeah.
Second thing is, for every employee, as per their responsibilities, as per their work, we create a role. Okay. And as per their role, permissions are also given onto the security groups. What we do, we assign the role to that security group.
Okay.
So once you assign the role to the security group, the permissions are inherited by the role. Right?
Yes.
So once that permissions are inherited by the role, when someone joins, you will assign the role to that person. So what will happen? That person indirectly is now a member of the security group. So whatever permissions that security group has, the same permissions the user also has. And a user can be a member of multiple security groups by assigning multiple roles. So you can assign multiple roles to one person. It is not that you will only assign one role. You can assign multiple roles, and if you assign multiple roles, that person will become the member of the security group. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
This is very important. We cannot forget it.